For the best viewing and audio experience, we recommend that you use Chrome as your browser during the event and minimize the number of open windows you may have. Welcome to today's event. We'll begin shortly, but need to cover just a few housekeeping items before we start. To reduce audio interference, we have muted participants. For better viewing, you may expand or minimize your menu control panel by clicking on the orange tab located on the left edge of the panel. If you have technical issues, please use the chat feature located at the bottom of your control panel to send us a message, and we'll try to assist you. Questions or comments may also be submitted using the chat feature. A recording of this event will be placed on our website as soon as possible. Thank you for your time, and with that, I'll send it over to Kelly Sechrist, our Development Director and today's moderator, to get us started. Kelly, you are muted.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everyone. We're so glad you're here. I'm looking forward to sharing with you a little more about the Resource Center and how we can help you out with your RCV elections that are upcoming. I had the pleasure last week of being in your beautiful state of Utah and was able to travel to Provo and Utah County and do a short in-person presentation, and we will be repeating the same presentation today for you. Go ahead and if you can, go into the chat and tell us which county or city that you're with. Let us know your name. And like I said, we welcome you to our event today. Just a few things. I want to go over our agenda first. We're going to cover all of these things fairly quickly. We know your time is important and that you have lots to do to get ready for your upcoming municipal elections. We're going to cover our mission, a little bit about who we are, how we can help you. There's several different ways. One of the big things you may have already heard about, our tabulation solution, some ready-to-use resources, and how we can help you in a consultation capacity. And then we will have time for some question and answers at the end. Feel free along the way to drop your questions into the chat, and we'll be monitoring those and address them at the end of the webinar. Wanted to go ahead and start out with our mission. If you're familiar with us, you may already know this, but if you're not, we are a resource center that is nonprofit and nonpartisan, and our mission is to provide trustworthy, best practice, reliable resources to help you with implementation and administration of your ranked choice voting elections. We have a lot of election experience on staff, a lot of ranked choice voting experience on staff, and we want to help you transition into that voting method in your jurisdiction in the way that's best for you guys. And we do this because of our bigger vision is that, we believe in well-run elections, and we believe that that promotes trust in our elections and builds democratic legitimacy. So who are we? We are, as I said before, a nonpartisan, nonprofit, 501c3. We don't really do any advocacy. We truly are a resource center to help you find the resources that match the needs that you have in your community. Every community is different. Every state is different. Even within states, there's a lot of differences. So we want to meet you where you are and help you to implement your ranked choice voting election with the best possible practices that we can provide. I'm Kelly Sechrist. I am the Development Director and Communications Director. We also have Chris Hughes on the webinar this afternoon, who is our policy director, and Rosemary Blizzard, who is a former election administrator and our finance director. So I want to start out with telling you a little bit about our tabulation solution. We have worked really hard over the years to develop a software solution that can help meet the needs of the tabulation question in ranked choice voting. So why tabulation software? Ranked choice voting, as we know, requires a tabulation solution that counts votes based on the rules of the jurisdiction. Not all voting systems have that capacity yet, and even if they do, it can be quite cost prohibitive for jurisdictions to move to new software or new equipment. So what is RCV Tab? So we realized a long time ago, several years ago, that this, of course, was a tabulation barrier to implementation. So we partnered with a group out of the Bay Area of California called Bright Spots, and they are volunteer developers who use their skills for free to develop things, apps, software that will enhance our democracy and our democratic process. And we were able to, by taking a look at all of the different kinds of RCV that are being implemented in the US, because there are multiple kinds, but single winner, and there's different ways to calculate multi-winner, as you know, in Utah. So we wanted to make sure that this was a comprehensive software that could address the issues of tabulation for all of the ranked choice voting options that are being used in the US. It's free, it's open source, it's available on our website, so you actually can download it now, install it on your computer. There's directions there for how to do that, and give it a try for yourself. It does work with almost all US voting systems, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. It's been tested by both Vistal Labs, ProVNV, and SLI over the last couple of years. So how does RCTab work? I'm going to show you some screenshots here in the next few slides, but I want to give you a little bit of a foundation or a baseline for how it actually works. So ranked choice voting tabulator, this RCTab software does not operate as a full voting system. It works, like I said, alongside your current voting system. It actually uses the data from your CVR, from your cast vote record that your voting system captures, and it uses that to run the round by round calculations. It's easy to set up. You set up the rules inside the program based on your jurisdiction rules, a lot of drop-down menus. It has a lot of information in the program on the side of the screen to help you make sure that things are done appropriately and that you have all the options available to you so that you can meet the needs of your ordinances and laws. Also includes options for both single winner and multi-winner RCV elections. And as I mentioned before, there are different flavors of that and different kinds of that, or different rules that states may use or jurisdictions may use. And we've tried to address all of those things within this software. And it also addresses overvotes, undervotes, skipped rankings, ties, all the things that you may run into with a ranked choice voting election. So I want to take a minute just to walk you through, like I said, it's pretty simple. Walk you through the RCTab screens. When you first install RCTab, you'll see this opening screen, and that's where you put information in about the election. Of course, you would set up a configuration for each contest that you're running, and you would put the information about that in that opening screen. The next screen would be where you input your CVR data. It gives you the opportunity to put your CVR in from your secure location, which would be a computer that is not internet connected. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute when we talk about security. And then set up information regarding the path to pull that data into your software. Next, you hit the candidate screen, and this is where you input your candidates and make sure, of course, that matches up with the candidates in your CVR so that the software knows how to award the votes that are in, the choices that are in your CVR. And see on the next two, I tried to add one for single winner and multi-pass IRV because those are the two kinds of RCV that you'll be using in Utah. You would set up the rules for your single winner elections, such as a mayor or something like that. And then your multi-winner, which might be your town council or something along those lines, allows you to set up the rules for that as well. Also, just to note, we'll make sure that you get a copy of this presentation after the webinar so you can take a little closer look at what the screenshots look like. The next screen would be your voter error rules, things like what to do when there's a skipped ranking, so on and so forth. And then finally, your output screen, that's where you tell the software where to put the data. Once it's run the round by round tabulations, you put a file path there to direct it back to where you can access it then. One thing I want to point out to you too, if you look to the right side of each of those screens, I mentioned before that the program itself actually provides you information about how to input your rules and the configurations for your contest. You'll see there's some gray box along the side that actually does direct you step by step through each section that you are addressing. So the big question, I know we've all had a lot of concerns, a lot of worries, a lot of questions about safety and security. It's uncomfortable maybe to think about using a third-party software or a different kind of solution for counting your votes than maybe you've used in the past. But the quite big question of the day is RCTab secure? And our answer to that is yes, if you follow the safety procedures recommended in the software documentation as we have provided. Two big things to remember. Number one, this software is always recommended only to be used on a computer that is non-internet connected, that has been set up specifically for RCTab, and that is set up with hardening procedures to make sure that everything is perfectly downloaded appropriately, correctly, and with no problems that may be associated with it. So that's really important. That is our number one recommendation with RCTab, and it's the most important thing when you're running an official count to make sure that you're non-internet connected. The other thing, data transport, configuration, tabulation, all of the things that you do within the software or you do with the data really would depend on the chain of custody and all of the different procedures and policies that you have in place in your particular jurisdiction. We recommend in our documentation that a bipartisan team of at least 2 people are part of this process at every single step of the way. They're always with the data. They're on a secure encrypted flash drive. There are always 2 people there when you're configuring the software, always 2 bipartisan people there when you run the actual tabulation. So there's no question, but certainly this would depend on the policies and procedures of your individual jurisdictions. So what else do we do? RCTab is just one thing of many that we can do and we can help you with as you proceed through these new, some of you are new to this, some of you are not. And 2019 saw some RCV elections also in Utah, but we can offer you some other support things that will hopefully make this transition easier and more understandable. So what are our ready to use resources? Our website, and you'll see that at the bottom of every slide, the rcvresources.org. We'll make sure, like I said, that you have a copy of this. But our website is one of the best resources that you can have at your fingertips for implementing a ranked choice voting election. On that website, you'll find an online resource library. It's searchable. You can, for instance, if you're looking for best practices for ballot design on an RCV ballot, you simply go into our resource library, you type in ballot design or you type in ballot, and it'll pull up the information regarding ballots that are on the website. You can also go through and peruse at your leisure and find different sections where you can read all about ballots or read all about tabulation, or you can read all about budgeting or pre and post election planning and auditing, results visualization. All of those kinds of things are located on this site. You'll also find on the website our webinar and podcast archives. We have webinars fairly often. We should be coming out with some new educational webinars in the near future and podcasts as well. They address things such as, we do RCV yearly updates, administration and auditing, RCV education. Our podcast may include things like drafting effective legislation, telling the story about how RCV has been implemented, or about the campaigns where RCV was successful in certain areas. We even have an informational webinar that's really interesting about it's called the Great Middle School Election, and we did an RCV election in a middle school classroom. It's really interesting and fascinating, and talks a lot about that, how easy RCV truly is to understand. Also, we have a new project launching soon. It's called RCV Maps. It's a 50-state look at election administration and voting systems with regard to ranked choice voting elections. More information is to come on that, but would love to share that with you when it comes out in the next few weeks. So one of the other things that we do, our staff really wants to provide you with things that are customized to your needs, to your jurisdiction. So in addition to our ready resources, we also can help you in more of a consultative capacity. We can help you with creating an election plan. We can help you with ordinance and legislation review. Of course, you guys are beyond that at this point. But should there be changes in the future, we could help with that. We can help with budgeting. We can help with things that happen, quick, where you need quick support. We're always available by phone. We offer trainings. We can offer specialized trainings for you guys, like this particular one is specialized to Utah for your upcoming municipal elections. We can do train the trainer. I know one question we get a lot of times with new jurisdictions and folks that are just implementing RCV for the first time is, oh my goodness, where do I even start? I'm not even sure where to start. So we can come in and talk with you and conference with you and help you, make a plan for, here are the steps to get me to where I need to be to implement this RCV election successfully, and help my public know about, my voters know about how we're doing it and what we're doing. We can create presentations. We can, even on-site assistance when it's safe. Travel right now is a little bit iffy, and I certainly, I'm sorry I missed some of you guys last week when I was in Utah, but we can definitely arrange to be on site even for election day, should that be available to us at that time. So I've kind of flown through all of this pretty quickly. We would love to take some questions and hear from you guys. If there are any questions out there.
Kelly, this is Rosemary. This may be the one time our chat has not exploded during a webinar. So that means you did a really good job.
Well, if you are on there still and if you're listening, please reach out to us. We would love to help you. We would love to, make this process as smooth and efficient as possible for you guys. I noticed Chris is dropping some information in the chat about how to get in touch with us. You can certainly email us. You can certainly call us. We would love to help. That's what we're here to do. That's what we want to make sure that your RCV is successful. That means a lot to us, and I think it'll mean a lot to your jurisdictions as well. As I mentioned before, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. If you want to learn more about that and how you can support the Resource Center, feel free to get in touch with us that way. Another great resource is actually our social media. Typically, social media posts will direct you back to the website resources, but may give you some thoughts and ideas about things that you may want to consider or want to think about. We are on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're all over the place. YouTube would have some interesting videos that you could watch. There's a great one about the development of the tabulator and why we did the tabulator software. So I'd love take a look at that if you're interested. And we look forward to seeing wonderful elections here in November, and hope that we can help you guys.
Kelly, I was going to mention really quickly before everybody sort of disperses, all of the documentation, the procedures that you mentioned in terms of using RCTab, whether it's hardening the computer or using the software itself. We have that documentation available to the users who download the tabulator, and we're happy to make sure that everybody has that. And if they have any questions whatsoever, about how to use the tabulator, how to set it up, we are more than ready and willing to answer those questions.
Yep, absolutely.
Elections tend to be a ask permission first rather than forgiveness later type situation. So we want to make it very clear that if there are any concerns or questions, there are no dumb questions when it comes to getting your elections right.
Absolutely. Also, if you're not getting our emails, we do have a quarterly newsletter that goes out and some things in between that will update you on resources coming out at our resource center and things that we're doing. Head over to our website at rcvresources.org and click on our subscribe button.
All right, well, we don't have any specific questions at this point in time, so we're going to let everybody get back to their busy days. I hope everyone has a great Labor Day weekend. That's rapidly coming up. We've made it to Wednesday, thank goodness. So with that, I'm going to sign off on everybody, and thanks again for everybody for their attendance. Kelly, thank you for your amazing presentation, and we will see everybody on the other side.
Thanks, guys.